All right, so the red button's going, so we're recording. Okay, so for those of you who are in class in person, I'm going to ask you to follow along the best that you can. And if you haven't brought paper and pens, pens or whatever to take notes on, I would suggest that. If not, you can always go back and watch this recording. Yeah, the red button's on. So for those of you who are online, I'm going to be sharing my screen the entire time, so you'll need to follow along there. And I will try to catch your questions in the chat room as we go through the class. And again, if you miss something or I go a little too fast on something, I want you guys to go back to the recording and watch it. That'll be the best way to do it, because what I've learned through the MLS is repetition, repetition, repetition. It just starts happening for you. And so when I have a buyer that says, hey, I want to set up a search, or I'm working with a buyer who wants to set up a search and so forth, I can quickly just very easily go through and set things up. It doesn't take me but 5 to 10 minutes, if that, to get it all set up. So what we're going to cover today are two major things. First and foremost is what I want to do is try to help you guys set up a system in the MLS that'll make your life easier when it comes to searching for properties for your clients. Now, I have my search stuff set up for what I think is best for me. Now, what I think is best for me does not mean it's going to be best for you guys, okay? There's going to be different organizational things in there that you may disagree with me on, and that's fine. There is anything wrong with that. You may think bedrooms and bathrooms are more important than square footage, so you want those before the square footage. You may think that areas are important and so forth. So there's a lot of different ways that you can set up your own search. What I'm wanting to do is to show you how you can set up a search engine that is your go-to, your regular search. Every time you open up MLS and you do a search, that same search criteria pulls up. And when I'm talking about criteria, I'm talking about the different fields that we can search by, not typing stuff in. I'm just saying the fields, so it makes it much easier. So with that being said, what I will tell you is what I do with my buyers is I explain to them that buying a house is a process of elimination. It's not necessarily going out and finding the right home. It's a matter of starting with a big funnel at the top, and we're going to narrow that field down to a certain number of listings that meet their criteria. You go through and ask them what type of home they're looking for, et cetera, et cetera. However you go about doing that, that's not what this class is about. It's about how you can match your MLS to how you work with your buyers in building that search engine for them, okay? So I always explain to them, we're gonna start out wide and we're gonna narrow things down to narrow it down to what they're actually looking for. All right. So with that being said, once we have our search engine built, you're going to constantly be able to go back to that every time you open it up. Now, what I've done with mine is, obviously, we're all not just buyer agents. Some of you out there online might be, but we also take listings. Would you agree? And what do we have to do when we take listings? We have to do comps. We have to work up a CMA. So I also have my general search built so that if I can either find houses for buyers, or I can find houses to work up my comparables, to find my comps that I need to use in my CMA. It's kind of a blended search that's come together. That way I only have to click on one search and bam, it's there. I'm either working on the buyer or I'm trying to find comparisons. Okay, does that make sense? Okay. So with that being said, we're going to jump into this, and I want to show you guys real quick that what we do in the main search, when we go into the search here, we're up here at the search, you can also do with your quick search. So when you go over here to quick search and you click on this little gear, the edit widget, you click on that, you're going to get the same window as you will with your regular search. So if you want to have a quick search set up so you can quickly find stuff, I encourage you to do the same thing with your regular search on the main page. The other thing that you can do with this is you can also move things around. So when you, the way I have mine set up, if I need to do a quick search MLS number, my top one is the MLS, and then I have the address number. And I'm telling you right now that if you have a client that calls you up and says, "Hey, what's the price for 2325 North Winchester?" I can quickly go in here and type that number in and type the address and then hit search, and it'll pull up that address. So I have this set up early or at the top so that I can quickly find stuff. And as you scroll through here, you can see that there's all different types of fields that you can put in. So whatever we do with our regular search that I'm getting ready to show you, you can also do with your quick search on the main page. If you didn't already know this, keep in mind that you can move these windows around on your main page. So if you want the contact activity moved up here, you can just click and drag, and it'll move it around. So you can move this stuff around however you want. There's showing time stuff here, then the main page from MLS, and then you can even move the quick search around to wherever you want as well. So you can set this up however you feel is best. All right. So I've gone over the quick search. Just remember, the quick search is set up just like the regular searches. So what you're going to do is go to search, and we're going to do residential. Now, there's obviously different classes here, different types of properties that you can look for. You can set up an individual separate search for each individual class. Okay, so if you're looking, if for those of you who are doing lots of properties or multifamily homes, you can actually go in and set up a search and save it for that class. Does that make sense for the different types? So to make it easier, we're going to do the residential. All right, so when you click on the residential, it's going to pull up your default, the search that you have saved in your settings that you've saved. It's going to pull that up. Now, again, keeping in mind that my search is set up broad down to narrow. Okay. The very first thing I want to share with you guys, just show of hands here in the class, how many of you have email your listings directly from the MLS? Okay, obvious. Everybody in class raised their hands for those of you online. What I want you to do, if you haven't already done so, is I want you to write down, or I want you to take note of this field right here, listing visibility type. The reason this is important is if you click on the listing visibility type and you click on the different fields or the different items that can be put in there, you're going to want to click MLS listing. If you click coming soon, and you can also include under construction. So if it's a new home, if you want to include new homes and so forth, click under construction. If you do not click these two, and you leave coming soon, you leave this field blank, and you come up with a list of homes, it will not allow you to email those listings. How many times have you guys set up a search and you've got a list of 5 or 6 homes and you want to try to email it to somebody and it won't allow you to do so, and it's like, oh, you got the listing visibility type is not correct. That as a part of our MLS rules, you cannot do that. Okay, the system will not allow you to do it. So the way you get around that is you set the listing visibility type. I have mine up towards the top, and you click MLS listing, and under construction you hit the save, and now any listings that come up, you will be able to email that. Yes, there's a question coming in. I don't think it does. Under construction is kind of a little bit of a different field. It should include under construction. So I believe the way the MLS, the way they set this up is if you've got buyers who are looking for brand new houses and you don't want to mess with the other pre-existing homes, then you can go in under construction. You can put the coming soon in there if you want to know what's coming soon. And what I'm not supposed to tell you this, but if you're looking for coming soon listings to be able to provide to your clients, what I would do is I would pull them up. And then we're not supposed to give that information out to our clients because it's only coming soon is only for us agents. but it's kind of like dangling a carrot in front of somebody. Why would we even do that if we're not going to share that with our clients? So
Exactly. Yeah.
coming soon, what I do is if I've got a listing that is coming soon, I'll pull it up and then I'll print it off as a PDF, and then I'll email it. Okay, but you didn't hear that from me, right, Greg? Exactly. So the thing about this is, again, I want to stress to you the importance of having the listing visibility type, this field right here, up towards your top, because it will save you a lot of headache. Try to go and sorry, Erica, you're behind me, so um, it will save you a lot of headaches if you don't have without having to do that. Okay, so everyone's like, Lynn just asked, okay, how do we put this in? How do we adjust things? All right, shoot, Greg has a question. So Greg wants to know how you get the listing visibility type up at the top. That's a great question. I'm getting ready to show you. So if you look up here at my heading right here where I'm saying where it says primary criteria, my default, you can see that this is my default search. So every time I click on a residential listing to do a search, this search is going to pull up every time. This is where it's going to save you a lot of headaches and time over the long run, because you're constantly going to be used to seeing the same thing over and over and over again. So what you do is you go up here to customize and click fields. I'm going to do that one more time. Go up here to customize and click fields. This additional window is going to pop up. Everything over here on the left are all the available fields that are in our listings. Okay, these are all the available ones that you have that you can include in your search criteria. Everything over here on the right, this right column, are all the selected fields. These are the ones that you have already selected and have included in your search criteria. Okay, now again, I'm going to preface this by saying when I say search criteria, I'm not talking about number of bedrooms, actually putting the numbers in, or square footage, or year built. I'm talking about the actual containers, the actual fields that you want to be able to search by. So to answer Greg's question, how do we move the listing visibility type? So here is the selected field. And I'm going to do it this way because it's going to be easier. If I highlight listing visibility type, so any fields that you have that is coming up in your search that you do not want, if you've got something in there that you no longer want in your search criteria, highlight it and click remove. And now it's no longer there. It's no longer in your selected fields. And then I would hit apply save, and it'd save it that way. All right, but I'll get to that here in a minute. To find it, okay, so let's say I need to find that. I need to find it. Go up here to this box where it says find and start typing in. And as I'm typing, it is coming up. Oops. Listing visibility. Okay, so as I'm typing it, it pops up. See how I did that? So if there's a field that you don't want to sit there and take the time to scroll through it all, just start typing it in and it will pop up, highlight it, and then click add. Okay, now I added it. Where is it over here in my selected fields? If you scroll down all the way here to the bottom, it's down here. All right, to answer Greg's question, how do I move these fields around? You grab it. See how I'm left click the mouse and I'm dragging it back up to the top to where I want it. So I had it under under above MLS, and bam, there it is. Okay, so I'm going to do that one more time for.
No.
Yep. Right here. So what Cindy, what Greg is talking about is if you don't have a mouse and you've got a pad that you're using, take your pad and click on the field that you want to move up and down, and then go over to these arrows here. You can move it up one or move it down one. So if I tap on move down one, it moves it down a field. If I want to move it back up, there it is. Thank you, Greg, for helping out with that. So that's how you go about moving things around. So this is obviously a search engine that I have created for myself. The important thing here is for you guys is, number one, I want to be able to show you how to go in and select the fields that you want, and be able to move them and add them to the fields that you want, and be able to move these how you want. So you can set up your search engine just how you feel is best for you. Okay. Does anybody have any questions on that? Yes. Yeah. It's basically.
Residential, so I'm okay.
Yep. Yes. Yep. Here we go. So when you go into oops. I'm just gonna set it here. Okay, so sorry about that for those online. All right, so once you've got it set up how you want, then you're gonna go hit apply save, and it should save it just as your default. Okay. Correct. So you click that. Thank you, Erica. The other thing is, you guys have to remember this. This is very important. If you had any values, let's say if I had active, the status is active, and I left that in there. If I leave this check marked, every time you pull up your search, it's going to come up with active in that search area. Okay, does that make sense? So if you've got something that you've saved in there, let's say you've got number of bedrooms or a finished basement, you've got that in there, and you save it with this criteria values, it is going to include that every time you pull up the search. So you want to uncheck this. Oops, sorry, hit the wrong button. You want to uncheck this to make sure all the fields are blank, that there's nothing in them. Yes, you can. And Erica makes a great point. So I'm going to cancel this. What Erica is suggesting is that what you can do is here in the listing visibility type, okay, listing visibility type, you can go in here and click MLS listing, hit save. All my other search fields in here are completely blank. Everything else is blank. And then I can go up here and save search. Residential, save criteria values, it will be saved in there. Set as my default residential search, yes. Hit save. Okay, did that make sense, Cindy? Oh, okay. So again, you go in here to fields, and once you have, you've got, see how I'm gonna do one more time. So here in the listing visibility type, I have an item that's in that field, which is MLS listings. That's all. I don't want the coming soon. So every time I pull up the search engine, I want MLS listing to always be there. So I don't have to constantly fill it. So I got it clicked in here. I've got everything set up. I go into customize. I can move my fields around, organize them however I need to. Okay. And I've shown you how to do this, and then hit apply save, and it's moving slow, guys. Sorry. You'll click save criteria values. Now, the only value I've added in this search is the listing visibility type. And then I will click this as set as my default residential search and hit save. Search with this name already exists. Are you sure you want to overwrite? Okay. Now I've got it set. Correct. Okay. Does that make sense? Any questions on that? All right. If anyone has any questions on how you go about customizing these, again, it's really simple. You go in and organize them however you feel is important. This is where I'm going to suggest to you that you take notes on how you want to set up your own search. Okay. We know how to click and add, and we know how to click and remove. Okay. So, with that being said, let's go over how I have my search engine set up, and you guys can take notes on how what is best for you. Again, what I have set up may not be the same as Lynn's. Lynn may think, you know what, bedrooms are much more important than size, or basements are much more important than age, whatever the case may be. So it's really you can really customize these things to what you like, okay, how you go about doing it. Again, for me, we are again keeping in mind that we're searching broadly. We start way broad, big top of the funnel, and we narrow it down. Yes. Mm-hmm. Right. Right. Correct.
You would set that up as saved under that client's name,
Correct.
not the MLS residential. No.
You okay? So let me get everyone up to speed. And I'm gonna come back to you. So what Greg is saying is he may have a buyer who wants to look in a certain particular school district or high school area. So let's say someone wants to be in Mays, but they want their kids to go to Mays South. So you can actually go in here. You could, and if that is what you want, if you want the high schools or the school districts up towards the top, you go back in to edit your customize, and you would move the fields however you want. Okay, so that's how you go about doing that. To answer Cindy's question was, okay, once you have criteria set and you've built the search engine, then you would save it under their name, or save it however, whatever type of name you want to give it to them, give for that. I always use the client's last name, or their full name. And that way, when I pull up all the searches, saved searches that I have, I can say, oh yeah, this one's old, or this one's the one that they're using, et cetera, et cetera. Okay, does that make sense? I'll show you how to do that here in a second, because we're going to set up a collaboration center. So to kind of speed things up a little bit, again, keep in mind, we're going to start broad and look narrow. So the very first thing I have at the top is the status. Why do I have the status up at the top? Well, the first thing I'm going to do is, am I looking for active homes for buyers, or am I looking for comparables? So active is the very first thing I have at the top. Okay, so we're gonna set up a search engine. We're gonna look for active homes, and I just clicked on active, and I got all of them here, and then I hit save. Now you can take out the coming soons if you want by unchecking that one, and then you've got just those three. Hit save, and they're all there. Yes. Mm-hmm. Yep, right here. No. You, that is one of the more aggravating things about the MLS, is that it only does the one, and uh, the, yeah, you should be teaching this class. I'm telling you. Yeah. So you can. So what Lynn's question was, may I want all those houses that are including in the auction, that are also auctioning off, but I don't want the for rent ones. So you click on for rent, and then go over here to equals and click not equal to. Not equal to. Okay, so I want to show you guys, as you guys are building the searches and you're doing this in front of your clients. Now, what I like to do is I like to bring my buyers into the office and take them into the conference room with the big screen. And then I'll show them, I'll go over, this is how I'm building my search for you. And it just provides that extra service. It shows that I really care about what I'm doing for them and making sure that we have the right search. They're a part of the process. If you go up here and remember up here in the right-hand corner where I'm moving my cursor, 987. Currently, right now in our market, there are only 987 active listings in our market right now. Okay, that's it. So as you start filling information out in your search, this number will drop. So as we put additional information in here, you'll see this number change. So I'm going to go in here and I'm going to hit, I do want all for sales. My buyers aren't interested in doing any auction houses. So I'm put for sale, and then listing visibility type. I'm going to put MLS listing. And now these are the fields. Again, these are the fields I have that are important to me. The reason I have MLS number here is if I need to do a quick search or whatnot, I can just simply start typing in a number. And as I type in a number 590, oops. I don't even know if this is a listing. Yeah, it's not a listing, but you can type in the MLS numbers here, and you can type more than one in here. So if you have a set of listings that you want, you can type in multiple MLS numbers. A lot of times what I'll do is after I've done my CMA and I've printed out the profile sheets for those comps, then I'll go back in here and just type in the numbers real quick and do a CMA spreadsheet that our broker requires us to have signed. No comment from Greg. Okay. All right. So the next thing I do is I also have the address address information in here. Again, the reason being is if I want to go do a regular search, I can type in the specific address, and you can do an actual specific address, or you can go minimum and maximum, maybe. Oh, it's not letting me do that. You got to go click on single. So you can do multiple here. So if you've got someone who says, well, it's in the 600 block of North Boyd, I can go 600 to 700 and Boyd. And there's 0 listings. The reason being is because I know that address because it's under contract, but you guys get the idea. So this is the reason why I have the address up here, up at the top. These are very specific that they're just the MLS and the address I have up at the top in case I need to pull up specific listings. Now I'm jumping back into my normal search. To me, the next most important thing is a closing date. If I am looking for comparables, I need to be able to set a closing date. Most appraisers don't go past 6 months when they pull comps. So you can go in here, you click on the date, maybe. Oh, the reason it's not giving me a closing date is because I have it active. Okay, but if I had solds up here, then I would be able to click a closing date. Okay, I think that's pretty self-explanatory. The next important thing in my mind, working with buyers, is what price range are they looking in? So keep in mind, we are looking for actives. The rest of the search is going to be for an active buyer. So let's say their low end is 150, tab over, and their high end is 225. And that's the price range that they want to be in. So I've got that set. Again, I'm narrowing that funnel. I'm going broad and bringing it down and narrowing the field. If you look up here now, I'm down to 148 listings. Okay, the next thing that I'm going to cover, and I don't want to spend a ton of time on this, is the mapping. So you can go in here, and I'm going to make this very quick. So we'll go back and watch this in the recording. If there's a specific area that your buyers want to be in, you can either search by map, okay, which I just clicked on, and you can draw in the map that you want, or go back here, up here at the top, go back to criteria, and you can click areas. Now, here's something that you guys need to know. What drives me nuts and has drove me nuts for God knows how many years is that we still have to put our zones in. That's what the area is, the zones. Okay, you guys all know what I'm talking about. You guys have all seen the MLS maps with the red lines and everything. I for years have been, excuse my French, bitching and moaning to the MLS about we need to get the MLS zone map on the MLS so that when we pull up an address, we can put a layer over it that will have the MLS zones. Does that make sense? I am here to tell you that it is in the process. The MLS is actually working on it. Greg, what was the last board meeting? They said it should be ready in a couple months, right? They think it's going to be a couple months. Yeah. And so no longer will, once they get that done, no longer will we need those, the actual physical map. So for those of you online, what that means is that we're going to have an overlay. When you click on the map, you'll be able to put an overlay of all the zones on there, and then you'll be able to supposedly click on them, is my understanding, but we'll see. So you can either search by, so my next thing is after we get price, okay, where do you want to be at? Now, Greg had mentioned earlier, maybe somebody wants to be in a specific school district or a specific high school. Well, I can skip these two fields, and then I'm going to jump down here to where I have my school district field saved, and I can include it there. To me, the school districts aren't that important unless my buyer says so, because the most of the buyers I work with want a specific area, a zone or a specific area. So what we're going to do is, let's say that my buyers want to be in West Wichita. So I click on the map. I'm going to zoom in here, and they want to be, and I'm just going to do this very generally. Okay, so go up here to draw and click on polygon, and then you can start clicking where you want to start your search. So they don't want to go any higher than here. They're willing to go as far west as 235. I'm sitting here drawing this in. Okay, now look, I want to go farther south, but I can't go, the screen won't let me, I don't think. Let's see if it allows me. Nope, it won't let me do it. So I go in and draw my map in, I finish out the polygon, and then I can move the screen up, and then I go over here to edit. Everybody see that where I see edit? Click on edit. Here is my polygon. I click on it, and it highlights this polygon, and then I can go in here and drag.
What do you do that for?
In case you want to change, maybe your buyers want to take a section out, or you want to, you can't get all of it in the screen.
Sometimes you do it, and then after you've been looking, there's many listings, they're like, oh, we'll go a couple miles.
Okay, so now I have the search area that they want to be in. Okay, so I click it back over. Now the search area is set. Now here's something else that's really, really cool. Okay, let's say that your buyers have said, we do not want to be, let me find an area here. For some odd reason, they don't want to be in this area south of Bishop Carroll. Okay, for some reason, they just don't like the area. They want to be in someplace different. If you go up here to map search, let's see here. Oh, wait a minute. I need to create a new one. Go back to criteria and click on it again. Okay, it took me back. So where am I supposed to? Oh, all right, here we go, up at the top. So you've got your main search area, and let's say they have an area that they don't want to be in. Hit draw again, click on polygon, and do the same thing. So they don't want to be in this area right here. For some reason, they don't like this area. They don't want to be in this area. So I click, I make that box. Now I've got two boxes. Okay, I can go in here and click on this one, the one I just drew, and then click this icon right here. Click to exclude the shapes area in that area. So if I click on it, it turns it red. It will not include the houses in that area. Okay, does that make sense? So now I have just removed this area of Wichita that my buyers do not want to be in. Okay, so now I go back up here to criteria. I've got that. I hit criteria. Now I'm down to 16 listings. So that's how I use the mapping. Now the thing about this, now the MLS is really trying to crack down on this, and when they do their monthly checks and so forth and audits or whatever, they try to check on this. When you guys put your listings in, make sure when it asks you if the location is correct, make sure you have it correct, because there have been times where listings will end up. I've a couple months ago, there was a listing that was just off the west coast of Africa because they didn't check where their geo stuff was at, and they didn't correct it. Okay, so make sure that you have that done correctly when you're putting your listings in. So property type for me, now I've got the area down. Property type to me is the next important thing. What type of home are you looking for? Are you wanting a single family stick built, on site built? Are you wanting a manufactured home? Are you wanting a condo or a patio home? So to me, that is the next important thing. So they want a single family on site built. So they want it stick built. So I hit save. That's going to eliminate any condos. That's going to eliminate any twin homes and so forth. They want their own property. Year built. Now I have year built and approximate age as the next two items. The reason these are important to me is maybe your buyers don't want something that's built after 1950 or before 1950. Maybe they want something that's more recent, more newer. So I use the year built. The year built, remember guys, is a required field. It has to be filled out. And so I like the year built more so than, because I can put a specific age in here. I can go from they don't want anything older than 1990, and the maximum to 2021, whichever. Okay, you don't actually have to include this if you don't want. 1990 to current, it still comes up as 6 listings. Okay, now I'm going to go up here to change this price a little bit. I'm going to bump it up to 250 to get more listings, 9 more. Or if you want to do versus year built, you can go in here and use approximate age. But to me, and for my buyers, the years that they have set up here and the approximate age is too broad. In my opinion, is too broad. In other words, if 36 to 50 years old, well, what if they only want a 40-year-old house or newer? Okay, so that's why I like to use property type. I'm sorry, year built. Then the next important thing to me, I think, and for my buyers, is how many levels do they want? Do they want a 1-level ranch? Do they want a 1-story, 1.5, or a 2-story, 1.5 story, etc. So to me, that is the next important item on the list. Again, keep in mind that I'm going from broad to narrow. And so let's say that, well, we've got bad knees, myself here, 1 story, and I hit save. Maybe. There we go. And I still have 6. All right. So now I've done the levels. The next thing to me that's most important, the biggest thing that they're wanting, do you want a basement? Do you want a basement? And if so, that's why a basement is the next search item on here. And then again, as I'm doing this in front of my clients, guys, I'm showing them right now we've got 6 listings to work with. Only 6. Hit basement. They say, you know what, we do want a basement, but we want something that's finished or has some partial finish downstairs. And then you hit save. And it still have 6. We still are working with 6 listings. Now, this is where some of you, and I'm okay with that. This isn't about a debate. It's not going to argue or anything like that. You may be wondering, why aren't we looking for bedrooms first? Well, to me, those major items are more important than before we get to the bedrooms and bathrooms. But the next item on the list, once we get whether or not they want a basement or not, is total bedrooms. So what I have here is total bedrooms. Again, remember, total bedrooms includes both the main floor, any floors above ground, and legal bedrooms down in the basement. Total bedrooms is all bedrooms. So let's say total bedrooms, they want a minimum of 3. Tap that. Okay, we eliminated 1 listing. We're down to 5 listings. Nope, you do not. You do not. You can leave it blank. Okay. If you have buyers that have kids, young children, and they've got to have at least 3 bedrooms on the main floor, okay, then AG bedrooms, that's why I have AG bedrooms up here in my list, is okay, I'll ask them, so you want a minimum of 3 bedrooms. How many of those bedrooms do you need on the main floor? Well, we need at least 2. Obviously, there's going to be 2, but we need at least 3 on there. So if I hit 3 here, I still have 3 listings to work with. Mm-hmm. It's a minimum. Okay. So I'm going to leave this blank, but that's why I have total bedrooms and AG bedrooms, is because you may be working with buyers that have kids. They have to have a certain number of bedrooms on the main floor. Okay. Same thing with total baths. Total baths, the way I have this set up is total baths is going to count the half baths as a total bath. The way I have it set up. If you want just total full baths, the full baths, then you would put that in here. And then mm-hmm. So what I would probably do is put 2 in here as total baths, because those total baths are supposed to include the half baths. Okay. So that is one of the I don't know how many years ago it was, Greg, but as a board, the MLS committee struggled when we first put this this new system together. I was on that committee when we put the new system together on Black Knight, the Paragon, the system that we're on now. That was a huge argument. We spent an entire day on how to figure out how we were going to list out total baths, total full baths, total half baths. Total baths is everything, includes your half baths. So let's say that these buyers, we're up to 5 listings. I can go in here and say, okay, Mr. and Mrs. Buyer, if we put 3 total baths in here, that takes us down to 3 listings. It went from 5 to 3 listings. Okay. So that they may say, well, go ahead and remove that. And what I want to do is I'm going to go back up here and I'm going to bump this price up again because I want more listings to look at. Gives us 8. So let's say total baths is 3, and there we have 6 listings. Okay, 6 listings that have 2.5 baths or more. Again, you can do the same thing with the total full baths, total half baths if you want to. I did not put AG bathrooms upstairs on the main floor, but you definitely could do that. Most of the time, if there's 3 bedroom or 3 bathrooms, one of them, there's 2 on the main floor, one of them is going to be a master. Okay, usually. Okay, so then the next important thing, we've got the bedrooms and bathrooms figured out. Next thing to me that's most important is the size. And so we can go in here and put in the square footage that you want to use. You can search by AGLA, a total square footage on the main floor up, or you can search or you can search by the amount of square footage of the basement, or you can do a TFLA. If you've got buyers that are moving in here from out of state, actually from other parts of the state, they are used to working with TFLA. If you go to most of the parts of the country, they're all going to be saying, well, I need 3,300 square feet. Well, most of us around here, you're thinking 3,300 square feet on the main floor. No, they're talking total living area. Okay, so make sure you explain to your clients there's a difference between AGLA and TFLA. Okay, so let's say that these buyers want at least 1,200 square feet or larger on the main floor. Tap. We still have 6 listings. Well, Lance, what happens if we can get 1,300 square feet? Oops. Then I can go in here. That gives us 4 listings. Okay, so you can go in here and do however you want on that. Then to me, the next item that's important is garage size. Shoot. The reason they did that is because there are more options, like a carport, and or none. Maybe you've got buyers that want a property that doesn't have any. They absolutely don't want anything, or they want one in a carport. Or whatever the case may be. It gives you options to do that. That was the reason they built it this way. So let's say that my buyer says, well, how many listings do we have if we go with a 3-car garage or a 4+? You hit save, and it narrows me down to 2 listings. Okay, so there's only 2 listings out there. If I remove, if I go in here and they say, okay, well, look, how many, if I hit 2, now I've got all of them. All 4 listings are still there. Okay.
So when you hit the 2, it's not going to bring up the rest of them.
Correct. 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 So I don't know if you guys heard that online. If you want a two car or more larger garage, you've got to hit both 2, 3, and 4, and that will cover all of them. Now the next thing I have are features. So here's what I will tell you about the features. I'm trying to wrap this up here. The features, in my opinion, and this is how I explain it to my buyers, is if you have a buyer that says, I got to have a wood fence. Okay, I've got to have a fence for my dogs. My response to them is that I understand that, and I can appreciate that. However, that is exterior amenities is not a required field. Is not required. So what'll end up happening, Mr. and Mrs. Buyer, is that we may miss out on some listings that'll come up in the MLS because the listing agent didn't do their due diligence by filling out the exterior amenities field. They may not have listed it with a fence, whether it's wood, chain link, wrought iron, whatever. They may not have listed, and then we would miss those listings. Plus, Mr. and Mrs. Buyer, if we find you the right house that has everything that you want and doesn't have a wood fence in it, would you really want to miss that opportunity to buy the perfect house where you can go and put your own fence in after closing, or we can even contract, or we can even ask it to, negotiate that in a contract? Usually they understand that. So I try to steer my buyers clear of those features, but I do also explain to them that they can always find those in the listings. Look in the features fields when you pull up the listings. Look through the features. It will have it whether there's a fence or not. So I very rarely put that in there. Correct. Correct. And even then, you're still. I don't trust. In other words, what I'm trying to get at in a nice way is I don't trust realtors in our market to fill out the features. Correct. Exactly. So the other thing that you can, and again, these are all items that I have added. You guys go through that list and create your own list of importance of the search containers, the search fields that you want. After the features, I have the school districts and the schools. If they want to be in a specific city, like the city of Derby, for example, you could type in Derby here and not use any of the school districts or any of the maps or anything like that. You can even search by subdivision. One of the things that our board, what the MLS is working on right now, is cleaning up the subdivisions. There are so many of them. You can go in there and type in Smith Edition, and there'll be 20 Smith Editions. They're trying to get that cleaned up, and that yeah. The other thing is in here is acreage. If you've got those, I've worked with a number of buyers. When I take a look at all the buyers I've worked with, there's only been a few handful that actually want acreage. And you can go in here and search by number of acres or acreage field. Maybe they want a half acre to a full acre. Again, you got to click the ones that they want. Or you can go in here and click by total number of acres. You can even use 0.5. I put type 0.5 in there. Look at that. All my listings jump to 0. Okay. So you can actually go, and if you have, let's say you want a large lot, maybe your buyer said, well, we don't need a necessary large lot. I want at least a third of an acre. You can go in here and put 3.3 or 3.0, and that will eliminate some of the smaller lots. The only caution that I throw to you on this is, again, I don't believe the number of acres is a required field. So the agents may not be putting that information in there correctly, if that makes sense. A lot of realtors do not know that 43,560 square feet is a total acre, and they can't figure out how to take 20,000 square feet, divide that by 43,560, and that gives you your total acreage. Yeah, exactly. So you can also, you can, correct, square footage. Yeah, yeah. So you can also add a thank you, Senator, for that. Zip code, you can search by zip. If you want to, if they don't want specials, you work with people that don't want specials at all, then minimum I would put in here $10. Actually, I would take that back. Maximum would be $10 yearly. all the $7.80 or whatever, 7.40, whatever it is. Okay. And that way that eliminates that. A lot of times what I'll do is if I have a buyer that says that, I will say, well, let's do this. I don't want you to miss out on those homes that are in the last year or two of their specials. So I may put in here 2000. Actually, I'll go down here to total specials and I'll put 2000 max. That way, if they've got houses out there that are brand new and have a ton of specials, those aren't included, if that makes sense. Yep. Yep. All right. So the shoot. Okay. Right. Mm-hmm. Right. There's 4. So I hit search, and these are the 4 that come up. So what you would do, so Greg is saying that your buyers say, we've only got 4, we've looked at these 4, we don't like any of them, but we want more listings to look at. Then you basically have to have a conversation with your buyers, and you've got to have a discussion as to what changes can we make to include more houses. Do we want to increase the price? Mr. and Mrs. Buyer, the type of home that you're looking for. I don't say this to them, but if I've gotten to know them really well and am being ornery with them, I'll tell them, you guys are looking for champagne on a beer budget. Okay. So we need to increase the price. So we can go in here and increase the price. Or Mr. and Mrs. Buyer, we can go in and change the shape. Maybe we need to expand our area of Wichita that we need to include more homes. Now that's probably where I would start. I would start asking, how do you feel about going farther north? Maybe all the way up to K96. Maybe as far out west as Goddard. Maybe as far south as I've already got it set as Schulte. Um, but that's how you go about doing that. Well, I don't know what you mean. Okay, I hit search. So when you go back to criteria up here at the top, so you've done the search, you want to go in and make changes to this, you go up here to the top, there's your map. You can click on the map to make the changes, or you can click on criteria, and it takes you back to your search screen. Mm-hmm. So we have these 4, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to save this. Last thing here is if you've got buyers that don't want to, you've got some buyers that say, I absolutely don't want to pay HOA dues. This is how you would do it, yes or no. Or you can use the field in there of HOA, what the price is, that field that you can use. I don't remember what it's labeled at. You can use that as well and put 0 in. If your buyers are FHA or FHA or VA buyers, you know that most short sales may not work for them. Maybe they want the short sale. Maybe they want to do the FHA special financing deal. I can't remember what it's called, or the rehab loan. Then you wouldn't include that. And then you can also do list dates if you want to. I've also had clients call me up and say, well, we didn't catch the address, but we got the name. Well, what was the agent's name? Oh, it was Sandra Fuller. So I start typing the name in here, and the names start popping up, and I can click on this. I click on their name. Yeah, by alphabetization. Yeah. So that's why I have those in there. If I can get rid of it, there we go. All right, so I have my saved search here. I know I've only got 4 listings. That's great. So I'm going to go up here and hit Save Search. Now, this is important. I want you guys to pay attention to this. Search name. I'm going to go in here, maybe. Go up here at the top. See, it says yourself. I'm going to go over here to Contact. Click on the little pencil description, and I'm going to save this as that. I'm going to hit OK. Maybe. It's got my search name. That's the name I gave to it. So I put my buyer's name in here, and then I can assign it to a contact. If I've added my contact in here, I can assign them here, or I could add a new contact from here. So what I'm gonna why isn't it cancel? Hold on a second here. I know, but they've changed this. Save search. Okay, go over down here to save search as. My bad. Go to save search as, and then type your name in. So go in and save it as. Go in and save as is what you want to do. Save as. Save criteria values, yes. Do not check this. Do not check set as my default residential search, because then it will change your default and include all the fields in there that we've added. I hit save. I'm going to get to that here in a minute. Hit save. Now that saved search is there. Okay. Now, Cindy just asked about how do we oh, sorry, Suzanne. I'm trying to repeat those questions. I'll do better. You can go back and watch the recording. Sorry, I'll try to do better at that. Okay, so now we've got our saved search. Now we have our buyers, and we want to set them up on the collaboration center. In the emails I sent out, I told you guys that you can set up your collaboration center through the MLS so that your buyers never miss a listing. Never miss a listing. And this is how you're going to go about doing it. So we've got our search saved. I want you to go up here to contacts, click on it, add contact. So you got to put the contact person in there. First name, I'm going to put in here as Lancer. Last name, these are the only two fields that are required. And then you've got to put in an email. So you've got 3 criteria. You've got to put their first name, their last name, and an email address for this to work. Okay, I'm going to click as my primary. If they have a spouse, if they have a wife, and the wife or the husband wants to get the emails also, you're going to put it down here, their secondary names and their secondary emails. And you're going to click this button here, add the spouse secondary to notifications. So now both members of the family are going to receive new listings. Okay, that's all you have to do. Contact information, their first name, last name, and their email. I'm going to hit save. Okay. Would you like to associate a property to this contract? Not now. This is asking you if you want to add a listing to the to the contact. I don't even mess with listings when it comes to associating them with contacts in the MLS. Not now. I don't want to do that. Okay. So now what it's going to do is it's going to pop up the buyer's information here. So you go over here, you can see, where's it at? My name's up here, okay? The contacts, if I wanted to jump over to my contacts, they're there. I go over to here. Buyer activity, click on this little caret, and you're going to go over here to add search. So you can either add a search to a contact, or you can add a contact to a search. Either way it's going to get you the same process, the same end result. Hit add search. You're going to load an existing saved search, okay? Or you can start the process here by building a brand new search form. Guys, this is where it's important. Remember that listing visibility type? If I didn't have that checked, if I clicked load an existing saved search, it will not allow me to add it. And then I've got to go back to the search, add it, change it, and then save it. So, but since I've did it already, load an existing search. I'm going to go with, correct. That's the field that you always want. So I'm going to load an existing saved search. Click on it again. So I load existing saved search, and I click on Lance Ferguson. I hit save. Now it has set me up as a search. It says here there's 4 matches, 4 new. Now I've got the two connected. So I've got the contact and the save search connected together. Now I've got to get the information to the buyer. So what I'm going to do is from here, I'm going to go up to the top. Actually, you can click here, settings. Click on the, if you click down here, you can set them up to where they get the emails. So as soon as a new listing hits the market, it's going to automatically email them that listing. Okay. Or you can set them up in the collaboration center. It does the same thing, but the collaboration center is an area where the buyers can do their own searches and they can move properties around to their favorites, not favorites, etc. So I'm going to hit settings. Notification range. If you want to put a message in there, you can. I don't never do that. I always notification date range. It goes out 1 year. So your search engine will run, your collaboration center will be set for a year. What do you want to send to them? Price change and new matches. Now I went in and set this up. It also, if you go in and do it yourself, it'll also probably say remarks. If there's new remarks, you can remove that, or in your preferences, you can take that out. And I don't want to get into that right now to show you how to do that. But anytime there's a price change or a new match, it's going to send it to my clients. The key thing here is notifications. Do you want them reoccurring or immediately? Now I have this discussion with your buyers. The type of homes that I've saved this search on are the type of homes that are probably going to sell very quickly. They're not going to be on the market very long. So I'm going to tell my buyers, I'm going to suggest that we do this immediately. So as soon as a listing hits the market, it's going to immediately email it to them. Okay, there is no delay. It immediately hits them. And it also, you can set it up to where it will hit you as well. It'll send you the email letting you know the new listing is out there. That's how I recommend you doing it in a hot market, in an area of homes that's hot. Cindy has a question.
How do you eliminate the ones that like you pretty puts in zero?
Okay, so those are going to be auction homes. So you would have taken care of that with the listing type. Okay. So her question was, how do you eliminate those that are listed at 0? That would be handled with the auction listing business, not the listing type, for sale, by auction, for rent, etc. That's where that would be addressed. So if you set this up for immediately, you're good to go. Okay. Then you recipients, I'm going to get this, and then you can also have it sent to you. If you don't want yourself to be blind copied, you would uncheck it. If you do want it blind copied, check it. This means that you're going to probably get 2 emails. Okay. And then you can change the subject down here if you want. I never do that. I just explain to my buyers, this is what you're going to receive. If you want to set it up reoccurring, maybe they're looking for type of homes that are going to be on the market a while, you can go in here and click reoccurring, and you can click on the modify time frame, and you can set it up daily, once a day. I have mine set up at 8 o'clock in the morning, and you can set this up in your preferences in the main page. Set that up, or you can set this up individually for each one. So I'll ask my buyer, when do you want to receive the listings? What time is the best time for you? If we're not doing it immediately, what time is a good time for you? And then you can go in and change that. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Right. Right.
So I know if I search, then I can find the most recent listing or email and then delete all the ones below it.
Correct.
You got to contend that I can then get all the, you didn't read your email and you just deleted it, email.
Right. So So great point, Erica. What Erica is suggesting is that if you've got multiple buyers that you're currently working with and you want to make sure you know which of these new listings that are coming out when the notification goes out, all you got to do is go in here and type in their name or type in whatever you want in there, so that you know when you receive that email, who that listing is for.
And will that go to them as subject with their name in it as
Yes.
well? Okay.
Yep. Okay. So great point, Erica. You hit OK, maybe. Or please set the client recurring to, oh, I've got to check this back to immediately. So I want this set up immediately for the type of homes that we're doing. I hit OK, and now I'm all set up. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to, you've got to do this, hit the send welcome message, click on that, type in your message. Hey, Lancer, here is your to the collaboration center, and whatever you want to type in. You can hit preview up here at the top, and this is what your clients are going to see. It's going to have your picture, your name, welcome to Collab Center, and there's your message. And then it's going to have their 4 matches. They click on that and they're in. Okay. It's real simple and easy. Hit the send. It's sending the message, and it will also blind copy you as well to make sure that they got it. So it says email sent to me, from me, and then I'm blind copied over here. I hit close. Yep, there's my email. I just got it. Now that you've sent the collaboration center, now you have access to this. You can see which ones are new and which ones they have marked as favorites, possibles, and rejecteds. So when your buyer calls you up, and let's say they have a laundry list, they have 20 listings, and they say, Lance, we want to look at our 4 favorites, you can quickly go to their site, their area, right here in the search, click on the contact, click on their name, click on the search, because I may have 2 or 3 searches saved for one client, and then I can see which ones that they have moved. Okay, does that make sense? Okay, so the last thing that you want to do if you're working with your clients, provide that service and click on View Collaboration Center up here at the top. What this does is it takes you to their collaboration center. Maybe. Why isn't it taking me there? There we go. It's thinking. It's taking a sweet time getting there. So click on the View Collaboration Center in front of your clients and show them how to use this. I don't want to spend, we're already 10 after 12. I don't want to spend a ton of time on this. I want you to set, and with all of you newer agents that are learning the MLS, I strongly encourage you to set yourself up just like I did for myself here today. I encourage you to set up build your own search, build your own contact, make yourself a client. That way you can experience what your clients experience, so you know how to talk about it. You know what they're experiencing, and you can speak intelligently about it. Okay. So over here, they have, I show them, okay, there's different ways that you can look at your listings. Here are all 4 of them. You can look at them in a thumbnail view. You can look at them in the tile view, or you can even look at them at a map view. And this shows you where all 4 listings are at. Okay. So you can zoom in and out. Go back here to the thumbnail. What Mr. and Mrs. Buyer, what this collaboration center will do is it gives you updates. It's going to show you what's new, what's prices changed, if there's a status change, if they're doing open houses. Okay. Also, Mr. and Mrs. Buyer, you can go in here and look at these listings, and it's going to load up the details. You can look at the photos through here. You can do a map view. You can do a street view. It has all this stuff here in your collaboration center. If you want information about the property, click on the property information page. It's going to tell you the number of bedrooms, baths, how long it's been on the market, and what the total square footage is, remarks, and then here's all your property information. I actually walk them through one of the listings so they know what they're looking at. Then the rest of the stuff is they can use that if they want. They can look at the history. They can calculate what their mortgage would be. I don't know what valuations. I've never really looked at valuations. Basically how you can, what type of down payment and so forth. But here's the great thing about this, Mr. and Mrs. Buyer, is you can go up here after you've looked through the information. You can come up here and let me save it as a favorite, or save it as a maybe. Oops, sorry, a possible, or a rejected. We're not interested in this house. Oh, you know what? We kind of like this one, so they can click on that. Did you? So when they click on this stuff, it's going to update it on the back end. And I tell the buyers, Mr. and Mrs. Buyer, I can see which ones that you like, which ones you don't like. It will notify you once they've saved a favorite, and then that gives you another touch. You can reach out and say, hey, I just saw that you clicked on North Karen as a favorite. Do we need to get out there and look at it? It's only been on the market for 4 days. We probably need to move quick if we have interest in it. Also, the last thing I want to show you is you go back to the collaboration center. Sorry, I should have clicked on the search instead. So we're back at the home page. I also will tell them if they want to. Now, if they have a lot of listings, I don't do this. So if they have a lot of listings that show up in their search engine, I don't do it. But if they've only got 4, I will tell them, okay, what I want you to do is if you go up here to these 3 bars and click on it, you can do your own property search. They can go in and they click on the dashboard is where we're at. They can build their own searches. They can save their own searches. Now there's communication. I tried this with a client once. It stinks. It's not very good. Don't recommend it. I tell them, listen, you're going to be in the collaboration center. It's going to tell you, hey, you can let your agent know that you have interest in this. I'm going to tell you, Mr. and Mrs. Buyer, don't do it because it's not that reliable. I would rather you text me or email me or call me because I'm not sure I will actually get it. So they can go in here and do their own property searches and mess around with it. I encourage them to do that, providing what they're doing. No, it does not change the one that you've saved for them. So go back here to the dashboard, and now I'm back to their collaboration center. See, I've got the one that I clicked as a favorite. It's already showing up over here. Now, the reason I say that you can, let me see if I can get to, oh, it's not gonna let me do it. I'm trying to figure out how to get back to the MLS with the way the screen is set up. There we go. There we go. So the reason it's important, guys, when you set this up, that when you click on settings, if you want your clients to make sure they get the listings as soon as they hit active, you need to set the client notifications up as immediately. It always it should default to that, depending on how you have your preferences set. The initial preferences that you set up in the MLS, you can set it up as being reoccurring. Okay, that's basically what we're covering today. Was this beneficial for those here in the classroom? Was this beneficial? Okay, those online, you can just type in your chat. Was this helpful for you guys? Hopefully you guys picked up some things. Okay, I'm gonna hit cancel on this. I'll go in and clean this. It's very helpful. Thank you, Suzanne. Appreciate it. Before I let you guys go, I'm going to ask you a question. I'm going to get rid of these contacts. I'm going to get to the home page. Preferences, I believe, is where it's at. Okay, here's my question for you. Out of raise of hands, and those of you on chat, I want you to just type in. How do you feel about the profile sheets for each individual listing? Do you like them? Do you like what they have set up? So let me do this here real quick. So if I go to search, I'm going to click, that'll end the class for this.